Well, when a guest was fantastic the first time around, I'm the kind of guy who can't get enough. So I have to have two. I have to bother this man two times. And this time we have Dennis Tufano, and the last time was wonderful. It was a few months back. Time flies.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh, End of the year last
I
year,
think
I
you're
think.
right. It was
Yeah.
2024. We're in 2025 now, believe it or not. I can't believe that,
I'm
but
so much older than, oh no,
yes,
no,
we're both we haven't aged. We don't age.
no, not allowed to. It's
That's
the
for other
law.
people. That's for other people. Let them
Please.
age. Uh, well, Dennis Tufano has one of the greatest natural voices. Here I am buttering you up 2 minutes
Yeah.
in. The greatest natural voices that I've ever heard in my life, and that's the truth. And sometimes I have to add these older guys. I'm one of them, so I can say this. The older guys, they don't maintain the voice so well. They can disappoint. I won't mention any names from time to time, but Dennis, you've gotten better. I'm telling you, you've gotten better.
Well, that's a good thing. I was always pretty much beholden to the fact that I was able to sing in the first place. I mean, I didn't start out like a singer. I found my way through it basically, but I realized that you have to take care of the instrument, like anybody else. I mean, people are I have guitars, I have other things I take care of. And at one point, when I think I got a little bit out of my youth, I started to understand the responsibility I had to keeping my voice in good shape because it seemed to be what I was going to be doing. And through the years, I've studied with coaches. I've done things. I was very, very beholden to it. As soon as I mean, I'm quite a stickler for when something goes wrong with my throat. So I really watch out for it. And I've had a few skirmishes with rough vocal cords and stuff because of viruses or different things like that. But it's always scary to me. It's like having a long time ago, one of my guitars, the whole crown piece was cracked off in an airline accident, and you just have to take care of it after that. You have to fix it. So I thank you for your comments. I really do enjoy singing. And when I sing, I it's not really me. It's I'm kind of channeling whoever the music god is up there. Because sometimes when I'm performing, I get to the end of a song and I don't remember singing the body of it, and but nobody's throwing anything at me, so I must have finished the song.
No
But
eggs, no cabbages.
no,
Actually, you know what's interesting? You must vocalize all the time. Do you?
I try to, yeah. I mean, I do a lot of it in the car actually, because vocalizing is not something that's for anyone to listen to besides you. And yeah, I do a lot of vocalizing in the car because it's private and it actually eats up the time spent in traffic. So, but yeah, I went to a really good coach, Ron Anderson, who's passed away now, but he was a magical guy. Yeah, he used to go on tours with a lot of the pop acts, the younger acts, and stand in the wings, and they would come off the stage during a song, and he would manipulate something, the
Wow.
muscles in their throat, and they would go
Wow.
out and be able to finish the show, and then he would help them get rid of whatever it was they had. But he taught the bel canto method. The bel canto method is basically a opera, and it's just an amazing thing what happens when you learn how to use the muscles correctly in your throat. So
Because
I think that
I've seen singers, that they're not doing it correctly. And
right,
they're good through their 30s, maybe even through
yeah,
their 40s, but they decline. And there's no doubt about that. Well, as far as the singing goes, it's like acting because this thing that you have, I'm an actor, so I have this, you have you have your voice. This is your focal point. This is everything to you. It's like you
well,
said, the
yeah,
guitarist has the guitar, you have
yeah.
the voice. It's beautiful.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm a fellow SAG member with you.
Okay,
Uh,
good, good.
I did a break, some years ago in the 70s. For about 16 years, all I did was work as an actor. and I did a lot of voice work too. And so, trying to stay good looking and also keep your voice in shape was a priority.
It's a task
And
too.
those 15 years of acting gave me a lot of ammunition for live performance singing. My connection to the audience is different than it ever used to be, and I feel like I'm a force to be reckoned with in a sense. I have a sense of myself now. Before I didn't really have a sense. So the acting really helped me a lot.
Is this stage acting or film?
I did stage, I did TV, I did small parts in films, but the majority of my work was theater and the voice work, voice
No, that
acting.
that helps a great deal. Just
Yeah.
standing on stage, pontificating the audience there, you can't match it. It's just something.
Well, you know,
It's an experience that nobody could ever understand unless they've been there.
no, it's pretty interesting because when I first went into theater, I was pretty afraid because I said, how am I going to remember all those lines? You
Yeah.
know, it's an hour and a half up there. And then in rehearsals, I learned how to do that, so I started to feel like very comfortable about that. And then the opening night, I went out on the stage and I went, wait a second, I've been on stages all my life. This is called like going home. So a lot of that was all kind of like I was being led into something to get more out of it, So yeah, I get it, I
You're
get it.
able to keep up this wonderful attitude and looking forward instead of behind. We'll talk about the things that went on in the past. We have to. But really,
Yeah.
it seems to me you come off as the kind of guy that kind of always wants something ahead of him. And what is coming up in the near future
Yeah,
for you?
well, gosh, I'm trying to put my I think we spoke about it before. I'm trying to put my Bobby Darin show back on
Right.
the board because it's calling to me. It's like an addiction, and to be able to stand up there for an hour and a half and belt all those good stories out is something that's eating at me now. Because usually when I'm doing the older stuff, the classic rock. There's so many acts on the bill that you don't get a chance to really work out. You do your records and you do your stuff because that's why you're there. And I enjoy doing those records, which is another thing that amazes me that, at my age I can still relate to the lyrics when I sing them. And so it really is easy to do. It's not like uh, other groups that maybe didn't happen, but but what's coming up is more shows, doing more shows. Uh, I also have a documentary that I shot some times ago in Chicago about polka dancing. And my mother was a polka dancer. And so that documentary's been sitting in the can for a while because of finances, but I'm going to try to finish that up this year and get it out there because I'm really interested in that because it's it's called Therapy Tuesday, and it's all about these senior citizens that call themselves recycled teenagers, and they dance their asses off, and they have a great time. I had a ball talking to all of them, so we turned it into a documentary, and it came out good. So I'm hoping to get that going. Other than that, I just keep looking for other little projects to do and singing wise. Actually, on this last cruise I was on in February with Rocky and the Rollers, I did a duet with Lala Brooks from the Crystals. And I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of her voice. Her
Hmm.
voice is one of those unique. It's no other voice like it. And we worked together a lot, and we really became fast friends. But we did an Everly Brothers song together, and it really flipped me out. I mean, I really like. I've done duets also with Susan Cowsill also, and I
Oh, I love her voice.
oh yeah, she's
She's
unbelievable.
fantastic.
Yeah, and the same thing like when I did my duets with Olivia Newton-John on her concert tour. There's something I think it has a lot to do with my interest in acting also, the whole process of it. Because one of the reasons I know I got the job with Olivia was not just because I could sing, but because I was able to actually relate to her on stage during song, as if we were performing in theater, and it was very comfortable for me. So I really love working with other people. It's like and since I enjoy the tonality of having my voice and a woman's voice, and it's just more fun than looking at a bunch of crusty old guys on stage.
That's for sure. I saw a video years back. Olivia, the two of you face to face. I mean, you could have put maybe a couple of inches between you, and you're pouring your heart out. This
Oh
man,
God,
let me tell you something. He's looking at, I mean, she was very, very, very beautiful at that point.
yeah,
I mean, she's gone now. It was tragic to
yeah,
me. But and you're about 2 inches away, and you guys are singing right into each other's eyes. And musical theater is one thing, but this is a pop genre. It's a
yeah.
little bit different, but you played it so beautifully. And I watched it 2 times. I once
Uh-huh.
wasn't enough. I rewound and went back and watched it again because it was so magical. It really was.
Well, it was a wonderful experience. I mean, we hit it off right away in rehearsals, but it was she was so open to like what we could possibly do up there. And so we tried everything and did over there. And the move at the end of Suddenly just happened one night. We were singing to each other, and we got closer and closer and closer. And we would usually have our two mics,
Mm.
and we would just come to the last couple of notes and come in with our mics. And just one night, I just dropped my mic and I moved all the way in, which was at that concert. And
Yeah.
the look in her eyes, I knew that she was paid for that. And we kissed at the end of it. But it was a stage kiss, it
Right.
wasn't like messy or
Right.
anything. But it came off great. And at the end of that show, she said, that stays in. That stays in.
Yeah, it
Because
was
when
spontaneous.
it came up, I was every man who wanted to be on that stage kissing her. So it worked out perfect that I could, that she was. I mean, I was scared when I did it because I said, "What's she gonna do? Slap me? I don't know."
You
But
took
I
a
went for it,
chance.
and she loved it. She loved it. Yeah, she was a beautiful soul, real beautiful soul.
Yeah, she always seems so, I never met her, but she always seems so nice and so
Yeah,
mellow as her song goes. I think
yeah.
she
It's just like she's
actually sang
definitely
a song. Have you ever been mellow? I
yeah,
think the name of the song was. But yeah, she was
the regular girl
fantastic.
next door. Yeah,
And you know what I didn't know the last time we got together? I don't think I knew this. Family Ties that hit in the 80s goes back to 81 maybe,
yeah.
82 something like that if I'm correct. The original before Johnny Mathis and Denise Williams was you and someone else I don't know, but you and someone else. How did that come about?
Well, we were in rehearsals. Strangely enough, we were on Olivia Newton-John there. We were in rehearsals with the Olivia concert, and we were at the Sony Studios on a big soundstage rehearsing. And Tom Scott, the jazz saxophone player, was the musical director for the concert. And we had worked together and everything, so we knew each other pretty well. And he came over after one rehearsal and said, "Look," he said, "we're just going to walk over to the studio over here." He said, "Because I wrote this music for the theme to a new show called Family Ties, and I want you and this other girl to sing." And they told us what the show was about. Was that this about this family, this and this and this and this. So we stood there and it took about an hour or so, and we got the relationship together and we sang the song, and it worked. And it was on the show for 13 episodes. And then Johnny Mathis heard the song, and he thought that it would be a good hit for him. So he re-recorded it, and they never played ours again, and because they went with
Just like
a
that?
bigger. Yeah, just like that. Well, it was CBS, and the TV was CBS, and they just said, yeah, this would be a great thing for our singer Johnny to go out there and do. So they did that. But the girl that sang with me was called Mindy Sterling.
Mm.
It's not the Mindy Sterling, the actress, the comedic actress, but this amazing voice is, that's still out there on YouTube too. I think you can hear it. She's got a beautiful, beautiful voice. So again, it was one of those things where we had a good time with it. I've actually done it live sometimes when I have enough time for a show to do extra pieces. And it comes across really great. It's kind of a standard sounding song now to me,
Let
you
me
know.
break the news to you, folks. That was the better version. I hate to say it, but that was the better. I actually enjoy saying it. That was the better version because the other versions sound canned to me.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I
Well,
mean?
yeah. Well, because we were new to it, and so it's like just like performing in theater when you originate a role, you bring a lot more to it than somebody who's coming after you. And sometimes they get hung up with what you did and not what they should do and everything.
Right.
Uh, but cause we were, I mean, again, of course, Mindy Sterling was quite a beautiful woman too. So I didn't have trouble sitting
That
across from her
helps.
microphone singing.
Yeah.
And so we, I think, brought a lot of that to the song because they told us we were supposed to be the married couple and here's what they would go through and all that stuff. So we just processed that and did it. And with Tom's music, it was really a lot of fun to do. So yeah, that was like you said earlier. I don't like to sit back and look at what I've done without doing something else. I've always liked the challenge of it all,
But yet
which is one of
here we are. And when you go on stage these days, they're expecting, hey, baby, they're playing our song. They expect a kind of a drag. They expect Mercy, Mercy, maybe. How do you make those old hits brand new? How do you do it every night?
it's to me, it's kind I'm singing them for the first time. One of the things that when I'm about to go on stage, I always try to make it like it's the first time. So I bring the kind of energy to it that then bleeds into the song and somehow makes it now. So I'm not singing an old song. And because another thing is like the when I'm in the wings waiting to go on, I'm yawning. I don't know if I'm going to make it. And and then all of a sudden, I grab the microphone and I'm 19 years old again. So
That's
there's
beautiful.
it's almost like a talisman, It's like I grab that microphone and I am that guy from then doing it now, and it just feels comfortable.
That is so beautiful because that's what an actor, again, we're back to that, has to do every day. If he does a show eight nights a week, he does that same
Mhm.
material every night. Every single night is a little different from the last night. It's just the nature of the whole thing.
It's yes, and that's the energy, that's the motor oil that keeps me going to look for new things too. And I look back at everything else I've done, and all that is enriching me to go further and do other stuff.
What was
So
your
it's like,
preference, if you had any, live performance, or did you like the ability to go to studio in studio and hone the song, or what did you prefer? What gave you the biggest
oh,
thrill?
I always enjoyed the studio. The studio was always fun because you really got a sense of how much you didn't know in the studio because you're under a microscope in the studio, and if you're working with the right producers, they will set you straight, and you'll learn something in the studio. But live performance for me is uh, the energy about it is just fascinating to me. So I mean, I've even doing live theater. I've always enjoyed that more than like doing a commercial or something like that because it's tactile. You can actually be there with it. Um, yeah, I like challenges. That's why back in the '80s when actually I was on the Olivia tour, that's when Carl and Nick from the Buckinghams wanted to redo the group, and I was already a solo for 10 years. And I said, I've got an awful lot that I've invested already in all the work I'm doing in California. I said, God bless you guys if you want to go do it, but I can't leave the last 10 years behind. I have to like, own up to it. And so that's why I didn't become part of the reunion of the band. And I'm happy I did. I'm happy with what I did. My choice was to expand a little bit more, and which is what I learned for the 10 years we weren't together, you know.
It's hard to go backwards. I mean,
Yeah.
you maybe for a tour, maybe two tours, but it's hard to go backwards. And
Yeah.
I think that would be going backwards. But how are those guys? Are they around?
Yeah, they're around. We just in where are we now? February. In February, we were inducted. The Buckinghams, as a band, was inducted into the Rock Gods Hall of Fame.
The Rock
And
Gods Hall of
Gods,
Fame. That's a
Gods
little
with a
different.
Z. Yeah,
Hmm.
the little gods with a Z. I
Hmm.
had never heard of them before, but they do. They travel around the country to the major cities, and when they're the local people in the cities, they give awards to people to acknowledge people who were maybe under the radar sometimes and
Hmm.
weren't like pop stars out there, you know. So they kind of acknowledge whatever your contribution was, and it was quite cool because I came into Chicago and Carl and Nick were there with us, and the Ides of March were also inducted with us, and we sang together. We did three songs. We did Mercy, we did Don't You Care, and Kind of a Drag. And we just got together and said, okay, I'll sing the first verse, you sing the second verse, you do this, you do that. And it actually balanced out really well. And we had a lot of laughs. People were a little bit surprised, I think, because, and I even mentioned it in my acceptance that there's a stigma on bands when the band doesn't have the same people in it, you know. They say, well, how come he left the band? And what's
Yeah.
going on there?
Right.
And oh, that must be rough. And we were up on stage laughing and singing together and stuff. And I just said, first of all, we're much too old to be living in that little pool. And
True.
it's here we are now. I mean, come on, what do we have? 50 years left? It's like uh and it worked. It just worked. People came up to us after we performed and everything, and they said, "Boy, it's so great to see you guys laughing together. We thought you were going to be on different sides of the room." We said, "Well, that's in your mind. That's not in our minds."
People
So
automatically think that you had a big argument, big fight,
yeah,
but some of these bands, they do have some humdingers,
oh yeah,
they
oh
go
God,
at
yeah,
it.
oh yeah.
But you always got along with your mates?
Well, we always got along. The band disbanded because of bad business and everything, and betrayals and all that kind of stuff. We had to break up to regroup. And so people always say, "Well, how come you left the band?" I said, "Well, I didn't leave the band. We broke up."
Hmm.
And they said, "Yeah, but what about the '80s band?" I said, "Well, no, we had gotten together once to do a reunion for the DJs in Chicago." I said, "But we weren't together again, but we got popular again by doing that reunion." So they started to get work. And we did about three or four jobs, and I had to keep coming back and forth from Los Angeles to Chicago, and it was getting a little bit crazy. I said, "Look, you guys just go do it. I mean, you were in the band, do the best you can with it." And they have. They've done it for 30 years or something,
Do you
to the
remember the
point.
first time you remember the first time you heard your record on the radio?
Oh God, yeah. Uh,
I
we
love these stories because Brian Wilson tells a story. They're in the car and they're hearing Surfer Girl or something. And if I could just imagine how that was back in 1962 or whenever that was. How
yeah,
was it for you?
for us, it was great. We used to go to WLS radio all the time. But Dick Biondi was the DJ there, and WLS was a powerful station in Chicago. It was 50,000 watts or something, so it really got to like 9 states. And so we used to always go up to Dick Biondi's show. He was on from 9 till midnight, and we would go up there around 10:30 with our new record, and we'd look at him through the glass and we'd say, would you play our record? Would you play our record? And he actually launched almost everybody out of Chicago. He was like responsible for everyone's
The DJs
popularity.
had a lot of power.
Oh, but he really invested in it too. He was really good. Uh, I mean, he told me some great Bobby Darin stories that were pretty amazing because Bobby Darin, when he was traveling, used to come into Chicago and go to the radio station and talk with Dick Biondi because he was a pretty wise man. And but it was weird. So he would say, "Look, guys, we can't play the record." He said because the program director sets the stage for it. We can't plug in other songs. They do them all on carts. And we said, "Oh, okay, we understand. Well, thank you." We got in the car. 3 minutes to midnight, we're in the car. We're driving out of downtown Chicago, and all of a sudden we hear our record being played. And Dick Biondi saying, "Hey, in these last 3 minutes, I'm going to show you a new song." Blah, 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 blah. And it was a song called "I'll Go Crazy," a James Brown song that we had recorded. And sure enough, there it was. And it was the drummer John was driving. He slammed down the brake so hard, and we were in the middle of downtown. It was like, and we just stood there going, "Oh my God, listen to that coming out of that little speaker."
That's when
And it was
radio was everything. Radio was everything.
the thing, man. It was, I mean, that's how I learned to sing in the car,
Right.
listening to the radio. It was great.
You know what's funny? You mentioned about singing. That's the best place to rehearse, to vocalize. You get in that car and you put, even if it's
Yeah,
not to the music on the radio, you just do a cappella. It's a beautiful thing. And yeah, and I used to run dialogue in the
yeah,
car. I
yeah.
used to have somebody sit next to me and run the lines with me as I'm driving. This is so many years ago, but it's something about being distracted and still learning something at the same time where it sinks
Yeah,
in a little bit better. It's a strange phenomenon.
it
But
is. It's a
well,
split brain thing. Yeah,
yeah, Dennis Tufano with me, if you don't know, Buckingham's fame, but so much more because this is going way back with the Buckinghams. And I'll tell you, I was born in 1960. So I heard these songs in retrospect. I heard them in the 70s more
yeah,
than when I was a little kid. And I always took to that kind of music, even though I
hmm
was 15 years old in 1975. And your
yeah.
stuff in particular, how did I ever know I was going to talk to you so many years after? But I used to sit there and listen to this stuff for hours with the little 45s. And that was just the thing. You got into people's homes, Dennis. You
Uh,
were able, they brought you home with the little record you bought for 99 cents. They put it on the turntable and you were right with them. That's a very special thing.
it's really a phenomenon, really. The when I perform currently, people come up to you all the time at the end of the show, and you've never met before, but they talk to me like I'm a relative.
Yeah.
They talk to me like they've known me for years, and they're like hang out comfortable. It's not like, "Oh, Mr. Tufano, could you do?" It's
They're
like,
comfortable
"Hey,
right
how
away
you
with you.
doing?" Immediate.
Wow.
And then they say things, they tell you stories about the songs and what they meant in their lives. When they tell you that, yeah, I was looking at this girl across the dance floor, and I couldn't get up enough courage to go ask her to dance. And then Kind of a Drag came on, and I just ran to her and grabbed her. And he says, "We've been married now for 50 years."
And it's because of
That
you.
kind of stuff. Yeah. And I go, "No, it wasn't my fault. Please." I
Well, when they stay together, you can take credit because a
Yeah, you're
50-year
still
marriage
here.
is so rare these days.
Yeah, no kidding. But
But
yeah, that's the thing that gets me. That's the fun part of doing the music now
so you
is
didn't
that the
see people
story.
starstruck very often, more so feeling like they were very comfortable immediately
Well,
around you?
some of them have a little bit of a starstruck in them because they're meeting somebody that they've only listened to.
Mm,
Uh, but but I think they open up as soon as I mean, I connect with people, whereas some of the people that I work with just sit there like this and go sign their stuff and go, "Thank you,
yeah.
thank you."
Yeah, that's
There's
not good.
no connection. And so I enjoy that because I've always liked people. I'm a people guy.
It comes across in your music. See, because I can actually tell the personality of the person. Sometimes I'm right, most times. And I
Mhm.
know if I actually like that singer or not, or like that actor or not, or if I can have a conversation with that actor or not, I can usually tell. Sometimes they disappoint you in interviews. You'll see these
Yeah.
people that you thought were so wonderful, and boy, did they disappoint. So sometimes you don't want to meet your idols, but
Oh yeah, I
hopefully
have.
it can work out.
I
Yeah,
have. And it
right,
hurts.
right.
It
It
hurts.
does. It does. Now,
Yeah.
when you look out in the audience these days? and you see who's out there. Are the young people coming out to see your
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. It used to be little like kids like 11, 12, 13, but
Hmm.
now it's going to be like 16, 17-year-olds are coming. And when they come in, I say, well, what are you doing here? Why would you come here? And they said, well, we like the music. Our parents played this music all the time. And so we grew up with it and we really liked it. So it's part of our lives. And then, of course, some of them come in and say, oh, our grandparents used to listen to this. And I went,
Not
I
just
said,
parents,
well,
grandparents.
yes, you
Ay, ay,
remember
ay.
that's back from 1605. Yeah. No, but yeah, and they come in, and I ask them why they like the music. I said, you have your own music in every generation. What is this? They say it's fun music. And the biggest comment they make is that they can hear every instrument and understand the lyrics. And that's the fun part because they get to sing with it.
Mm.
Whereas some of the other stuff you can't recognize what they're singing sometimes or whatever, or they put an effect on your voice, or something.
They're great
So
karaoke. They're great karaoke songs. Kind,
good.
I have to say. I've sang kind of a drag.
Oh yeah?
I have a pretty good voice, and
Give me
that song in particular has such staying power, if you will. This is a song. A good record is a good record now or 50 years ago to me. It
yeah.
lasts.
Yeah.
There's some value to it, no matter when you play it. And that's just what they used to call, quote unquote, a good record, as a really good record. What is if you? I don't deal in favorites usually, but I'll ask one question concerning that. What is your favorite song? Not the most popular, not the most that sold the most. What is your favorite song, if any,
My favorite song, well, as it happened, was
that you did?
yeah, was "Don't You Care."
Don't you care?
That became it was a departure point for me. It was different than kind of a drag. And Jim Hovey, of course, made it all very simple for me because his songs, his lyrics, were very much like a love letter, or a Dear John letter, because it was love lost, love come back, please, I love you, I still love you. Everything about it was was a good love letter. It was easy to do it, but when Don't You Care, when he handed us Don't You Care, it was such a departure, really, from kind of a drag. And the chord structures, everything else about the song were uplifting. And again, the challenge attracted me heavily to that, So yeah, Don't You Care was my favorite. But when I look at all of them, they're all my favorites. Because I mean, sometimes I'm in a bad mood and I don't like the way I sounded. But that doesn't mean I don't like the songs. But yeah, but I think all of them rise to the top for me pretty much. I think they're all really good.
Now, we talked about the voice early on. We talked about how you take care of the voice. How do you take care of the body? Are you an exerciser?
Yeah,
Are you a
I could pick
workout
up a
person?
glass. I pick up a glass and I
Oh,
drink
there you
it.
go. You're doing curls. You're doing
Yeah,
glass
doing
curls.
curls. And I big heavy glasses I like to use.
Building those biceps.
No, I used to do well back, Jesus, back in the 70s. Yeah, when I was acting, I started to do Pilates. And that was fairly new at the time too. It was kind of an underground exercise. And I really got hooked on it because it was like passive bodybuilding. And I started to look pretty good. Matter of fact, for the Olivia tour, I was did a 2 week heavy course before we went out on the road because it was 3 month tour, and you start to put on some weight when you're on the road. So I did Pilates and but that was the basic exercise. I do some walking. I do some quick walking, and I'm not the kind of guy that sits down too much. So I like to work on things and keep moving.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think physically, thank God, I've been okay for a while. I got typical kind of things going on. Like back in 2003, yeah, 2003, I had a heart attack,
Mm.
and that was just something from 10 years before that. It was a clogged
Mm.
artery. It was a lifestyle thing, and I recognized it as soon as they told me. I went, "Oh yeah,
Mm.
I I was smoking cigarettes, I was eating badly, and 10 years later, there's the clog. But I was taught during that recovery how not to have that happen again, so I never had a problem again. And so for the most part, except for being entertainment business crazy, I'm okay.
That's fantastic. And
Yeah.
it's funny because people that do take care of themselves, it doesn't automatically mean that you're not going to have any trouble. There's a lot of luck involved, and whether in genetics are involved also, and because I just know a lot of older actors or older people in the business or entertainment business that really came to the revelation, the revelation that I got to take care of myself. I, I,
Yeah.
I, what I did in my 30s and my 40s, my 20s, 30s, and 40s. Now I'm 50 years old. I better start taking care of myself. So they try to regain those years that were.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you smoked. I'm so glad you stopped smoking. That's my pet
Oh,
peeve.
yeah.
But that'll kill you. And as far as the voice goes, it's really now. Would you consider yourself if someone asked you how would you describe your style? What are your roots? What would you say?
My style, my roots of music.
What are you? Because some people see themselves rooted in blues, and some feel like they're more a jazz type. There's a little jazz taste to their stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would
Yeah.
you consider your roots, and where did you come from early on?
Well, early on, like my father was a musician, so he didn't become popular or anything. He had to go to a job and raise a family. But he played saxophone, violin, and harmonica and sang like a bird. And so I was able to get that most of my life as I was growing up. I would be able to listen to him perform. And and he was doing standards.
Mm,
But now they call it the American Songbook.
right.
And and so I learned, My Funny Valentine and all kinds of stuff that, kids my age were not listening to. They were all on 78s, big heavy records. And so that went into my head, Tony Bennett and all kinds of stuff like that,
Mm,
Dean Martin, Sinatra, of course. I mean, just all the crooners. And I had no idea I was going to turn into be a crooner myself. But I actually that matter of fact, when I was first starting out, I was upset that I didn't have like a Rod Stewart voice.
mm,
I could really go out
gravelly.
there and rock and rah.
Yeah,
Didn't
it's not your
uh,
style.
I tried to do it, but it wouldn't happen. So I said, okay, I'll stay here in the crooning world and I'll be okay. But I think R&B had a lot to do with it when we
Yeah,
were 16 and 17, when we went to dances. The R&B was it. Motown was big, and of course that was another musical thing where you can understand the lyrics and you can hear all the instruments, and they were powerful, powerful songs. So I think and then of course as we started to get involved ourselves in music, because I started out in an a cappella group, we were then now doing doo-wop.
mm.
So I was like getting the opportunity to taste different styles, and R&B was a big one. Uh, it's just like I mean, if a lot of people say that our music and the Buckinghams had a taste of R&B jazz kind of flavor
I
to it,
thought so.
and Blue-Eyed Soul, which
Hmm.
I never thought of us as Blue-Eyed Soul, but I think that that's the stuff I heard, and that's what's in my head. And so when I sing, I sing from a place that it comes out that way. I mean, it just comes out. I mean, it's rhythmic, I think. There's a certain phrasing that you adopt, and
I was listening to your band, the Buckinghams, the Righteous Brothers.
mm.
That's Blue Eyed Soul for sure.
Yeah, the Rascals,
In
yeah,
the
Rascals,
Rascals are tremendous. I've had a
yeah.
couple of those guys on the program. They're tremendous. I thought they
No,
were
I love.
phenomenal.
I've worked with Felix a couple of times, and I worked with Eddie Brigati a number of times, and Eddie's a wildcat.
He really is. He's
He,
too
he,
much. I
you
had
know,
him and his brother
oh yeah, Dave.
both on the phone at the same time one time,
Oh man,
and that was
that
a
was
that was a
heavy
handful.
tug. That's really getting mugged in your brain.
Yeah, but it was good because sometimes you'll get somebody that doesn't really respond very much.
No, no,
Yes,
he'll,
no,
yeah.
yes. So that was the opposite. They went to
Oh
town.
no.
Let me tell you.
Yeah,
What do you
Eddie
think of
will
the
go
music
for it.
today? Be honest with me.
I think
I'm
this,
sure you're always
yeah,
honest the entire interview, but
yeah, I
what do you
try.
think of the music today?
Uh, it's I don't understand there's two things about the music today that I don't understand. I'm not going to say whether it's good or bad, but they keep messing around with the singer's vocals.
Yes.
Keep putting stuff that whatever the hell that is. I don't know what that is. These are people with good voices and they're singing their asses off, but it sounds like a robot.
Yeah.
The second thing is whatever happened to lyrics? Most of the songs have like 10 words in them. And
Mm.
then in a repetitious manner, they do, oh, 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 oh,
Yeah.
oh, it's a chant. And it just comes back to the chant and back to the chant.
Yeah.
And I've seen it on YouTube where the audience does, they love the chant. And I'm thinking, Jesus, yeah, you do, that means you can do like 3 songs in an hour
Yeah.
because
They turn
it's
them
just,
out. They turn them out like
yeah.
nothing.
But that's what I don't like about it, especially when I hear the vocals. I think that the people deserve
They
to be
call it
heard.
auto tuning.
Auto tuning, yeah. Well, yeah. Take the auto tune off, and then you can't hear them all
Yeah.
because they're out of key.
That's
And
Taylor Swift, the biggest sensation, if you can believe this, the biggest sensation of all time. Put
yeah,
the Beatles away. The Stone, anybody you want to mention, she's bigger if you're talking numbers.
oh yeah,
And let me tell you, I heard her try to sing without the auto tune. I'm sorry, the
yeah,
woman. I don't know she's fooled everybody, but
yeah.
it's the whole persona that she's selling, the
Well, a
whole
lot of
glitz and glamour.
yeah. The auto tune thing for live performance is kind of like a bit of a cop out, but it's also understandable because even at her level, I don't think that the sound quality that she's getting on stage is probably suitable to keep the pitch all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some shows that I do sometimes where all the acts afterwards say, were you able to hold your pitch? There was something wrong on stage today. I couldn't, and
Mm,
it wasn't just one or two people, it was everybody. So there's I don't know. It's like the auto tune, I guess, if for the audience is okay. But I grew up in music playing live.
yeah.
Never thought about making a record. We were just happy to be live,
Yeah.
and it was great to be in front of people and sing, and it was gravy to go and make a record. So I don't know
And that
why that.
distorted sound that you're talking about, that's not pleasant to the ear. To me,
No,
I turn the radio right off when I hear that. I don't know. And they recycle everything. One thing sounds exactly like the other.
exactly
They
the
did
same
that in
thing.
the
Yeah.
old days too, but not to the extent they
Yeah.
do it today.
No. Well, no, because now it runs together. It all runs together. Before, even if it was a similar kind of record, it was a different voice. The voice was right in your face.
Mm.
Now the voice is mixed back, and it's mostly the tracks
They do a thing
and
called sampling.
sampling. Yes,
Yeah,
sampling.
yeah,
Thank
and
God for
that's
sampling. It made a lot of songwriters rich when they sued everybody. Uh,
yeah. There
yeah.
was a famous case, George Harrison,
Mhm.
and she's so fine, my sweet
My
Lord.
sweet Lord. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's so
yeah,
fine. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well,
And that was, he paid off. He settled
he
because he
did.
was tired of the tediousness. And the actual judge and everybody said, You didn't copy this. There's
No,
no
it
evidence that you
was
copied it.
coincidence.
It just came to you and you did it. Yeah.
Well, when you think about music, everything's been if you look at it this way, everything's been done, Dennis. At one time or another, there's really nothing really original. Because
No.
if you look back, it's been done somewhere very in a very similar fashion somewhere. So,
Well,
it's a very difficult thing to decipher.
it sneaks back in sometimes. Some of the new music happening now, and a
Hmm.
lot of it I hear on streaming, on like Netflix and TV shows. They're bringing in new or young songwriters to give a theme to the show, and It's some of it's acoustic, some of it's very, very direct and sensitive, and I can tell that they're young. And and they usually tell you who they are somehow at the bottom of the screen. So I look them up and I see, and they're actually doing some really good acoustic stuff that is has a rock feeling to it, and it's different. And some of them are changing a little bit. The music's coming around a little bit in certain areas. I think that it skips a generation every once in a while. I think where it just goes crazy. You know?
So the country's changing in a certain way right now.
Don't
You
get
can
me
feel the
started.
change happening, whether it's for
Don't
the
get
good or the
me
bad, I don't
started.
know, but it's
Yeah.
changing. In closing, I just want to ask you one more time to mention where everybody can find you because people want to know that by the end of our little discussion here. Where can they
Yeah.
find you, Dennis, these days? I mean, it's so easy. Just type in that name, Dennis Tufano, and you'll see him
Yeah.
everywhere.
They'll on YouTube, that'll happen everywhere. But on to really be up close and personal, here's my address. I'll come on over.
Yes, sure.
It's,
That'd be great if you gave the address. You'd have a few
I'd
thousand
love
people
that.
over.
Yeah, it'd be lovely to have barbecue.
You can't
Um,
trust anybody these days. I would never do that. I
yeah, I
was
know
on the
that's
radio the other night. I made a joke and I said, "Yeah, I'm the kind of guy that puts $50,000 under a mattress." And then I said to myself, I don't know what we were talking about. I said to myself, "Are you nuts? I mean, somebody's going to knock on that door or come in when you're not here and think,
that's right.
yeah, you got to watch what you say these days."
They can get in touch with me at on Facebook.
Facebook,
Facebook.com, and then in all one word, Dennis Tufano sings.
okay, and you're still
And then
going strong. You're still performing concert wise and everything.
yeah, yeah, I won't go quietly. That's probably the best thing.
Well, listen, I appreciate it. Maybe
I
in a
got to
couple
come
of
up with some stuff for our third edition.
yeah.
I've got to come
What do
up
you
with some
mean?
new stuff for our third edition because this is the second
Oh,
interview.
right,
So we
right.
got to have three because
Hmm.
that's the rule of comedy. So we have to have three,
Hmm.
and so I got to come up with some new stuff to tell you
That's
about.
right. That's right. And April 25th, going to have a gathering, kind of like the one when I had you on the phone at the studio.
Oh yeah,
It's a Friday. If you're around, maybe you can spend a few minutes with us. Mark it on your calendar if you happen to be
yeah.
around about 4 o'clock. Well, that's you're on the West Coast, so it'd be more like 1 o'clock your time.
And what day?
April 25th, which is a couple of weeks from tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, for about 10 minutes, maybe we'll get you on the phone and talk about, we have a different audience on Friday nights.
Uh-huh.
I really
Okay.
appreciate it, Dennis. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ralph. I really appreciate your interest and your love of music and everything, and it's always been pleasant to talk with you. Thank
Oh,
you.
same here. I always have a lot of fun with you. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Take
Be
care.
well.
Okay,
All
you
right.
too.